is required in SAT, ACT, you require that. And also in life later, in school and college and later in life, also you need writing. So you can do that. In summer, this summer I don't know if Suresh is prepared enough to offer geometry. Suresh, do you have any plans of offering geometry this summer?
I have to ask you.
Okay, you can do one thing.
Curriculum party, she's
Okay, okay, you can do one thing. If you bring 3 people, 8th graders like you, we'll start a class. We'll teach you geometry this summer so that you are prepared for the next academic year. And during the academic year, also we can teach you geometry and also writing. Anything else? Yes, sir.
So we, especially in this area, like Koppal, Plano, Frisco, we kind of feel a lot of proud about this, like a very good school district.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I just want your comment, like, do you see when, like, these are called as best school districts or something?
Sir, every jurisdiction claims that we have the best school districts in the country.
No, my question is, like, in this school district, when it is a best school district,
I know.
what is the importance of this learning center?
Okay, that's what I'm telling you, okay? And if you ask Fairfax County in Northern Virginia, they claim that they have one of the best school districts. Montgomery County in Maryland claims that they have one of the, Orange County claims in California they have one of the, but in reality, in public education system, okay, the focus is always the average student, even in the best school districts. Whereas the bad school districts, okay, they are, their level of delivery or the curriculum or whatever is below the average student here, basically, okay. Even the good school districts are not good enough to challenge the top 20, 25 or 30% of the students, okay? Because our county is considered as one of the best. It has the best magnet schools also in that area. I'm talking about Virginia and Maryland. We have 6, 7 well-recognized magnet schools in our area. Unless the kid goes to the magnet schools, regular schools, they are not challenging enough.
What kind of training do you give for the teachers?
Yeah.
Most of the time, there's one thing like having an ambition goal.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is, a teacher can really kill the goal and ambition of the kid.
No, good question.
Yeah,
Good question.
kind of time, because you see Kumon, you see a lot of educational institutions,
Mhm.
which is like you are growing up and me growing up.
Mm.
But it's not like a private learning. Private learning. So what I'm saying is, unless the teacher is well trained,
Yeah, I know what you are
what
saying.
kind of training you're giving? I mean,
Yeah, we explain, we give a curriculum, our own curriculum, and we give a lot of explanation about, for any teacher that we recruit. We give 5, 6, 7 page description about our teaching methodology, and we give our own teaching material, and we talk to the teacher also. Okay, and I was talking to the English teacher, she's going to be the English teacher in this center, okay? I was telling her about, for example, what we expect at Curie Learning and what we do in Curie Learning, okay? So the teachers are going to be, basically, we use Skype. Sometimes I came here, and if the center is nearby, I go and talk to the teachers myself. Otherwise, through Skype, we talk to them and then explain them our goals for the program. And we provide a good curriculum. And I wanted to understand, most of the teachers in Curie Learning are the career teachers also. Okay? These are the people who are already teaching in the school system. And I also told you that what distinguishes Curie Learning from the other programs is, we teach things similar to the way schools teach, but at a higher level, more challenging level. So there isn't much disconnect. Kumon problem is complete disconnect between the way it is taught in Kumon versus what is in school. No connection between Kumon, because nobody teaches also in Kumon. It is an individualized program, okay? Sheets are given to the student and they explain when the student is doing in the first time or for 1 or 2, the teacher will come and talk to the student for few minutes. The rest is entirely the student. The interaction between the teacher and the student is very minimal in Puma. Whereas in our program, the 2 hours your student is here, my teacher is directly involved in the kids' education because they are teaching the entire 2 hours. For example, a typical Curie lesson, whether it is English or math, we explain the concept associated with that lesson. We make them do example problems or example questions associated with them. And then few of them, they are asked to do it themselves. And if they need any help, we will help them. The rest of the work they take home and we will send them the answers for that homework. Parents get the answers by email related to that homework. So while the kid is doing the work, we have what we call as a study log book. We are the only ones who use a study log. Every Curie learning student is supposed to enter how long they worked on the homework that is given. Is it entirely done in one day, few hours before coming to the class, or is it distributed over 3-4 days? We ask them to distribute over 3-4 days so that they can retain the knowledge. They have to enter everything. How many hours they worked on any given day and what homework they worked. So we have the way of tracking the methodology that we are trying to achieve. Is it implemented properly at home? We have a way to track that as well. And the parents, what they do is, before the class, they correct the homework and they give a second chance to the child to work on that. Then even after the second chance, if child is not able to do it, if the parent can explain it, then they explain, but we don't insist. They don't have to explain. Then the next class when the student comes, in the first 10-15 minutes, it is answering any questions they may have related to the previous class. Then we go to the new lesson. So this is an interactive kind of learning process. Okay? Parents are involved to make sure that the kid is sitting in multiple sittings and then doing the job, and they are correcting the material because we are providing the answers. If it is Kuman, parents know how to do the addition subtraction, but they don't have time to correct it because the answers are not there. They have to put substantial time. Here we are providing the answers. So it is easy for them to check. Okay? So as I told you, there is a study log in order to monitor the way the work is done at home also. It's a different kind of methodology. This accountability. We are making the student accountable. Whether it is a second grade student or 7th grade student, they are responsible, they are accountable. And if the student is not making any progress, even after 3-4 months, because of one reason or the other, whether we first report this to the parent, that we are not seeing your child completing the homework. Okay? Let us have a meeting so that we can discuss this problem. The parent is not responding, then we ask the parent to withdraw the child from the program. Okay? And we are the only program in this country where we have the guts to ask a potential customer who is paying us money, who don't want your money, because the student is not getting anything out of the program. Okay? It's not because I am at fault. Somebody is at fault, but the result is the same. The student is not learning. So, why to bother? Withdraw your child from the program. Anything else? Anything else?
What kind of writing related classes are there? Like I heard writing 1 and 2.
Yes.
Do you suggest from
What happens
early
is,
or late?
writing is, when you start grade 1, grade 2, is while you are learning the meanings of the words, in every homework, they have to write a sentence using that word. Sometimes we challenge them to use 2 or 3 words in one sentence also, so that they have to come up with some creative writing for that. So early on, it is sentence writing only. But as they are moving towards 2nd, 3rd grade, then the sentence should be becoming into paragraphs. Okay? It doesn't mean that in grade 1 there is no scope of writing paragraph. We have that also. But that's not the main focus. Okay? And then as they are moving towards 4th grade, for example, we introduce them to paragraph structures. There are various 10 well-known paragraph structures. So when a good writer, when you look at a professional writer versus a regular novice writer, professional writers, they follow these classic paragraph structures in their writing, like parallelism, okay, or contrast kind of paragraph structure. Contrast means you take the first sentence is a well-known position, majority are well-known, widely held opinion, but the rest of the paragraph is in contrast to that widely held opinion. How do you start the first contrast sentence? Okay, what kind of phrases or words do you use when you write the first sentence? Okay, so we teach all these various paragraph structures in the 4th and 5th grade while making them write persuasive writing and all that. But slowly we are building them to a level where by the time they are in the 6th grade, they are able to write multiple paragraph structures, whereas in writing 1, writing 2, we also introduce, in addition to various kind of styles of writing, college essay writing, because they have to deal with it when they apply for the colleges. Because there is a specific way of writing college essays. Because college essays are, no matter in what way the prompt is given, you have the responsibility to bring you into the discussion. Okay? Prompt may be looking like a general prompt, but while answering that general prompt, you have to bring yourself into the discussion there. Because they want to know not only your opinion on that topic, they want to know about you also. So there is a specific way you write college essays. We expose them to that also in our writing 1 and writing 2.
And before writing 1 and 2, all the reading and
Writing 1 and writing 2 are for high school students.
high school. And
Yeah.
the regular English has reading and writing together.
Together, you are right.
Okay. So
From
like-
grade 1 onwards.
So the track is math track and English.
English track, correct. 1 hour math, 1 hour English, 2 different teachers teach. At Curie Learning, the minimum qualification of a teacher is a bachelor's degree in that area. Okay? Only people with a bachelor's degree or related degree in English teach English here. I mean, they may have a bachelor's degree in political science, that is okay. But even in political science degrees and few other degrees, there is a lot of stress on English courses they have to take, so they are as good as English teachers. So people with appropriate degrees teach at Curie Learning. Okay? If you take, for example, Kuman, there is no, many times it is the high school students who correct the homeworks. Okay? Sometimes high school students may be the helpers also there. So at Curie Learning, minimum bachelor's degree, most of our teachers even have master's degree. It's not that you require a master's degree, bachelor's degree is good enough, but some of our teachers have master's, even PhDs I have, 2 PhDs among my English teachers. Anything else?
Is there online platform for the remote learning?
No, not now, but in future. At this time, we are working on tweaking our curriculum. It is there already. We are tweaking it because you can always keep improving the curriculum.
Can you comment on Khan Academy?
Khan Academy is a good resource, but nobody teaches it. It's not like similar to online learning. Let me tell you, in my 1990s, some of my friends told me that Venkatrao, you may have to look for some job because it is very likely that in the new century there may not be any teaching jobs. Your university may have to close because everybody will be taking courses online. Did it happen? No. enrollments in colleges started going up actually. There is no substitute for live interaction. So online learning has limitations, especially for young children. Okay, I know kids who take Khan Academy and all that. It's not similar to live learning where you have ability to interact with a live teacher. Okay, there's no substitute for that. Even at college level, the online learning is only adopted when the person has no time to attend any college, or they want to have some quick learning on some topic, then they go to online. That's the only resource available. Yes. Anything else?
We have evaluation exams for maths, English, reading, writing separately and...
No. Evaluation exam is mostly for math. Because in case of English, what we found is, it is not that difficult to fit in to their any level. Math is the problem where to fit in, because without multiplication, they can't understand division, for example. Okay? So we are going to mainly focus on the math part to decide which level the student is going to be. Because our English, we are teaching every aspect of it at every grade level. All four. I told you grammar, vocabulary, writing, non-fiction reading, they are at every level, so they can easily fit into the English program. They're not a problem.
If somebody is at 6th or 7th grade, how would they start?
Okay. If it is a 6th grader, we give them our 5th grade final exam. Basically, final exam means we are designing an exam. We do understand that some of the students come at the end of August, maybe for 2 months, they are completely away from any academics. So we are designing the questionnaire in such a way that even with the basic understanding of the concepts, they will be able to answer the questions. And we are going to put some tough questions as well to decide where to put the student. Suppose if the student scores 60% or above, no questions asked, is a 6th grader, put him in level 6. But if the score is something like 40% to 60%, then we tell the parent that in our opinion, it's a good idea to put your kid, even though he's a 6th grader, in our level 5. But the parent says adamantly, no, I want them. We want a written promise from the parent saying that I am going to play a role here and do my level best to make sure that my kid is doing the homework properly and I will help the kid. Then we admit the kid in that level. Only if the parent insists and then gives us a written promise that he or she is going to play a role. If a kid scores 20% or below, we outright reject the student in our learning program. We don't take that. Because it is extremely difficult to bring that child up. Unless the child is willing to take, the child is in grade 6, we may have to bring him to level 3, level 4. The parent may not like it, then we say we are not good for it. That's what I'm saying. We say no if required. Okay? That all parents tell me that how come that you are doing a business? Why are you not accepting my child? I say that I am convinced that I cannot make a difference for your child. Then why should I take your child? If it is for dollars, I'm not that, badly in need of those dollars. Take your child to the appropriate place. Maybe a program where somebody can work one-on-one with your kid so that your kid can be helped better. That's all it is. Anything else?
You said you have your own set of curriculum on what
Correct.
standards do you
Yeah.
prepare the curriculum?
Yes.
What would be the ratio of the teacher and the kid?
Teacher and the kid. Okay, it's a good question. Depends upon the grade level again. Usually in Curie program, at level 1, the kids in our classes are anywhere from 6 to 10. Okay? As the level increases, like grade 6, I have multiple number of sections actually. For example, in our program in Northern Virginia, we have more than 100 6th graders, more than 200 7th graders. we have multiple number of sections. In some sections, I have only 12 or 15. I have a section where I have 24. Okay? The parent says it's okay because in Curie learning, what distinguishes Curie learning from anything is tight control over the student body. Okay? The student has all encouragement to express themselves with respect to academic questions. But fooling around when the lesson is in progress is not allowed at all. Okay? In fact, the misconception that having a fewer number of students is better for my student is a misconception. Okay? Having 20, 24 is a better situation, I will tell you why. Because somebody will ask question. If you have only 4 or 5 students, likelihood of somebody asking questions is very low. That's not a better situation to be in. If you have 24, 25, maybe 1, 2, 3 students will be asking questions, everybody will be benefited. Because I teach undergraduate class, I have 65 students, I love to walk into that class. I know that somebody will be asking questions. On the other hand, I have graduate level courses where I have 8 to 12 students, I hate to enter into the class. Because it's very unlikely that somebody will ask questions. So it's not the number that matters. It is the lively discussion in the classroom. That comes with a good teacher. That's why, do you remember what I told you? All our teachers are professional teachers. They know how to handle the numbers. These are the people who are working in the county schools, where they have the capability and the experience of handling 25, 30 kids also. Okay? So, we don't bring anybody on the road into the classroom to teach. That never happens at Curie Learning. All our teachers are experienced teachers. Okay?
What about the curriculum, sir?
Our own curriculum we developed based upon general core, basically. Okay? But my 6th grade curriculum is Algebra 1. I don't want to call it grade, level 6. Okay? Is Algebra 1, for example. Okay? Level 5 is the arithmetics is there. Because if you look at the topics in every grade level, topics are the same. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fraction, probability, they exist in every grade level. Suppose if somebody is in level 5, we start with grade 5 level. Okay? With the concept, you need to start with the concept. Then we quickly take them to the higher level. And then we also expose them to single variable equation solving, its application to word problems. We even expose them to 2 variable equation solving in level 5. Okay? So challenge, you need to challenge. Okay? Many kids can handle it, I'm telling you. So it is the lack of challenge they faced is the reason. Do not underestimate the capability of the students. They can handle it. Yes, if the student comes and tells you that, oh, it is too tough for me, and I don't like this. If you give a millimeter opening to a child, they can open it into a meter. Okay? You have to tell the child, you have to do it. Isn't everybody else in the class is doing it? Learn. That's all it is. You are capable. You are as intelligent as anybody. And another thing I observed in my 36 years teaching experience is, intellectually, 90% of the students are equal. Okay? There are the remaining 10%. There are some exceptionally brilliant. There are some people who really need special help. But most of them are intelligent enough to be able to handle a higher level curriculum also. Because they were not exposed. They always want to have some excuses. If somebody is trying to finish the homework very quickly, why are they doing it? Because they want to run to the video game. Or she wants to run to read a fiction book that is pulling in that direction. Or the kid wants to watch a TV. Or kid wants to run out to play basketball with 5 other friends. Okay? So that he can go and learn all bad words in Telugu or whatever language while playing with the kids in the neighborhood basketball hoop. So there is some reason for that. But I am not asking you to rob the child from playing time. They should have their play time also. It should not become excessive. That's what it is. 2-3 hours in summer is fine. During the academic year, they okay, get your 45 minutes, 1 hour playtime, then you have the responsibility to do the